Say his name and he appears.
This is a friendship that'll never ever end.
Greetings and welcome to Unveiling Reality. How's everybody doing out there? Hope you're all doing and living well. This is Dronepocalypse 2024 Part 4. The Drone's Alien Disclosure PsyOp featuring Dr. Stephen Greer. Part 2. Surprise, Part 2. Didn't realize I'd be doing 2 parts to this. However, the first one went so long, I had to break it into a second one. But first, let me thank all of my YouTube members that are out there supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much. You guys are all winners. That's why you're in the winner's circle. And I appreciate you supporting the channel. You guys rock. You make it happen, and you're part of the solution. Let's get into this. All right. We last left off with Dr. Stephen the Grifter Greer. And his interview with Dana Carvey and David Spade, you know, Church Lady and Joe Dirt. And we got about 37 minutes into it, minus a few commercial breaks by the guys at the Superfly podcast or Fly on the Wall podcast, whatever they call it. Yeah, we just had to keep going here. So this is going to be part 2 for all of you who watched the first part of this, which is actually part 3 in the Dronepocalypse 2024 series. Thank you for coming back to listen to the rest of it. We were having a great time, and there's plenty more to go. So enjoy. If you're just catching this for the first time, there is a first part to this, and there's also 2 parts before this to Dronepocalypse 2024, and you can find all of those in the Unveiling Reality Dronepocalypse 2024 playlist, which is in the description below. Also down there is my UFO Unveiling Reality UFO Alien Rabbit Hole playlist, which has a lot of background information, including streams on the Disclosure Project, Stephen Greer, another one before that goes back into his antics in the UFO alien verse there, the conspiratainment verse, as if you will, and also information on things like Project Bluebeam. They're all located in streams in that playlist. So as I refer to them, you can find those playlists in the description below. Let's get into this. All right, when we last left off here, I won't even bring up the board. If you want to see the board, you can go back to, well, actually, I should bring up at least one part of it. I did have to fix the title of this in the board. So let me bring it up right now. All right, there it is. So originally I just said alien disclosure, but after listening to the first part of this interview, we had to go by what Steven said, telling us, and that is it's a rogue military corporate black budget ops with alien technology disclosure. So that's where the grift is going right now. And I just wanted you guys to take a look at that before we get started. Go ahead and remove that. And let's bring that interview back up. I put it back just a little bit so we can catch back up. We stopped at the perfect spot though, so it should be pretty easy if you're just watching now or just want to watch this part of it to catch up with where we're going. Right now we're going to bring up this interview, and yeah, there's David Spade. Look, he's got his Joe Dirt hat on in the back there and everything. It's down on that shelf back behind him. And Dana Carvey is getting ready to pop on screen, and he's going to give us a recap, which I think is a perfect place to start. So without further ado, let's get into it. Take it away, guys.
Just to reiterate here for people who are just joining us. Yeah, Dr. Greer, trauma doctor, comes upon this information in the late 90s, and then you've really devoted the last 25, 30 years to exposing it, along with different other things, extraterrestrials and UFOs and all kinds of things like that. But this
exposing it means that he's out there putting his narrative out. He's not really exposing anything, as we talked about in the first part of this interview. What is Dr. Greer actually exposed? Nothing. There's no proof of anything that he's ever said, and he's never exposed a thing. And that's documented because obviously there's been no disclosure. And despite him saying earlier that he has been in contact with all the presidents that have been, or at least their administrations for the last 20 or 30 years or whatever, nothing has ever come of it. So this is all things that he says. Again, we're talking about a person who relies on hearsay, on take this on faith, on mysterious unnamed whistleblowers, and and people who want to come forward about things, right? And this group of grifters known as the Disclosure Project and others for clout, right? So he doesn't have a lot of real results to look at other than a bunch of this stuff he's put together over the years. And again, if you are a David Greer fan, I mean, Dave, I always want to call him David, a Dr. Greer fan, right? Or you believe in all this alien stuff, just keep an open mind. And what I do in this video is I break it down sentence by sentence, because what Stephen Greer likes to do is talk a mile long and go in a million different directions to where you can't really remember where he starts, but you can only get the key parts he wants you to remember, right? And if you watch part 1 of this interview, which I recommend you do, you're going to find out what I'm talking about, because I break that all down piece by piece. That's why it is 3 hours long, because just getting 38 minutes into this, that's how long it took to stop him sentence by sentence, or stop sentence by sentence and try to clarify what he's saying, right? And then go into what is the anatomy of a PsyOp or a grift. And as I talked about before in the first part of this, the psychological operation is to get you to believe something, right, that isn't true for an outcome of the person trying to get, or the person that they're representing that's trying to get you to believe it, right? So that's all it is. And as I explained in that earlier as well, there's all kinds of PsyOps running around us at all times. It's nothing out of the ordinary, but a lot of people just they correlate that with this big government kind of stuff, right? They think it's always the government running a PsyOp, because that's what most people use that terminology with. But like I said, it could be someone in your life, a couple people in your life. It could be a lot of different things, a lot of different PsyOps that are out there. And grifters run PsyOps on you all the time, right? So it's not just the government that can do it. It's not just it's a psychological operation, just meaning someone's trying to convince you of something that isn't real in order to get a result out of it. That's psychology, being an operation of psychology being used on you. That's all it means. And it could be micro or macro. All right. Hey, just by the way, if you're out there, remember to hit the thumbs up, subscribe, follow, ring the bell, because the truth is always shadow banned. Hey, if I was out there grifting like Stephen Greer, I'd have millions of followers. But as it is, I'm just trying to get the truth out there. Like I said, I will never confirm your bias, but I will walk with you side by side to the truth. That's what I do here, and that's why we are winning reality. Okay, let's get into this. Dana Carvey is now going to catch us up. Let's go.
Specific. And then perhaps by January 15th, a whistleblower will come out, and this will be the seminal moment of all this 30 years. If it's the way it comes out, and if the world discovers this secret military rogue operation that's been dealing in all these.
So they're mirroring.
Okay, so just to catch you up again, the secret rogue military operation. Now, he explained this like 3 times throughout the interview so far, and every time he's changed it a little bit, right? So I point that out in part 1 as well as we go through it. See, it started out as this one group, right? And then he added corporate into it. So then it became corporate. And then you couldn't tell whether the guys were still in the military or not. These guys evidently are not now in the military, but they were. There are supposedly, some people that were in it, and now they're not. Now it's corporate driven, but it's military because they were military. It's very confusing. This is the world of Stephen Greer. This is how he manipulates people into believing his narrative. And this is why for the last 30 years, he's been able to grift, make documentaries, make books, make money, right? Make a lot of money and build a name for himself. And by doing this, right? He's very good at slick talking and using word kung fu, if you will, in order to manipulate people into believing this stuff. And so many people just hear it at a high level and then believe what they're hearing, and then go out and say, well, yeah, the disclosure is coming, right? But it never does. It never does. If he's been doing this, and believe me, he started out as an emergency room doctor, right? And then suddenly he got some information somehow, because, emergency room doctors always do. And he was then thrust into this world of conspiratainment or UFO alien disclosure, right? So he's got all this information, done all this work, and according to him, he's flying here and flying there and debriefing people and bringing and sending them all kinds of intel and all that stuff. But it's just what he's saying, right? There's no proof he's done any of this. It's just his story about himself. So again, I'm going to rewind it. I do this throughout. I rewind and make sure we're hearing things right. I'm going to rewind it again, just to let Dana introduce this one more time since I interrupted, and we'll go.
Doctor, comes upon this information in the late 90s, and then you've really devoted the last 25, 30 years to exposing it, along with different other things, extraterrestrials and UFOs and all kinds of things like that, but this in specific. And then perhaps by January 15th, a whistleblower will come out, and this will be the seminal moment of all this 30 years, if it's the way it comes out, and if the world discovers this secret military rogue operation that's been dealing in all these.
So they're mirroring the alien non-human, so you can't really tell the difference if people think it's an alien, or this is sort of good versus evil. There's good people involved trying to beat the people that have all this information also, and they're a little ahead of the game.
Okay, he's getting ready to go off, and I'm going to comment on that. He said a little bit ahead of the game. They kind of explained it right. It's not quite. He's going to correct them now and put his own spin on it. But again, he hasn't really exposed anything in all this time. And let's just let it roll.
Well, let's say the constitutional government of the United States is several thousand years technologically behind this rogue element. That's the real.
Okay, this is where I covered this part at the end of last video, so I won't reiterate it too much, but I'm just, for anybody who's tuning in right now for the first time, I'll just let you know, pay attention to what he just said. He said, our constitutional government, which supposedly pays for this through a black budget, that was in the first part too. All right. It's thousands of years behind this rogue group, right? Thousands of years, technologically speaking, behind a rogue group who evidently only uses this technology, which supposedly can travel multiple times the speed of light through time space. His words, not mine, right? And they only use it to hoax us so that we'll be scared so they can take over someday. Like, if you had this technology already, why wouldn't you just go ahead and take over? It doesn't make any sense at all, right? like what are you waiting for? You're hiding out in secret places doing things. Why? What are you waiting for? According to him as well, they already have all that Star Trek stuff. They can teleport. They can do. They have all the Star Trek technologies. And we'll see where this goes from now. But again, go back to part 1 to hear me completely go through this entire part, his build up, his initial story, what he said initially, how he changed the story throughout. And within 38 minutes, he's changed the story a few times. And listen to how I pointed out. We're just going to go ahead and move forward now. And I'll just be making comments on what he's saying as we go.
Real problem. They do not have the technologies of this
iPhone versus Lego.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're talking smoke. I mean, the world we're living in right now, my friends, is smoke signals. And this organization that's very transnational have things that are.
Now it's transnational. Okay, that just got added in. That was not in anything he said so far, but now it's transnational, rogue, military, corporate, black ops, black budget. Okay, who has Star Trek level technology, right? That can do all the things that I just talked about and more. And we're thousands of years behind. Our military, our basic military, is thousands of years behind them, right? And he's got 2 different groups, right? There's one group that he keeps saying 19 years, 20 years ago, or 20 months ago, 19 months ago, 20 months ago. 2 groups contacted him. One is a group that wants to of Green Berets and Delta Force guys who want to go and take this group down by deactivating their weaponry, which he's never explained what the weaponry is they're supposed to deactivate, right? And close off these underground bunkers. Another is a guy that has been there, that has realized after decades of being there that what he's doing is unconstitutional and illegal, and now he's got a conscience, right? So this is the guy that supposedly has been working on alien technology, reverse engineering the technology they already have that they've brought down. That's thousands of years ahead of us, right? That they've brought down, re-engineered, and now they have. You have to follow this complicated story from the beginning. He just weaves and weaves and weaves and weaves all the way through here. And what he's talking about now is that there's this guy who wants to be a patriot now and wants to come out and disclose it. And that's the guy that is supposedly, and Dana had the date wrong. Supposedly he's supposed to come out like on January 20th, right? January 20th is your inauguration day, by the way. The way I did the math was this interview was done 3 days ago, right? And it was so that would be equal to, because today is the 23rd, by the way, 23rd, when I'm recording this. So that would have been the 20th. So January 20th would have been 30 days, is what he said. It won't happen. I'm taking bets. Anybody who wants to bet me on this, go ahead. We'll make a bet. But I'm going to tell you right now, as with all of Stephen Greer's predictions, it won't happen. I'm pretty damn confident enough to say that. You usually don't, but I'm so confident after years and years and years, I guess almost a decade and a half of looking into this guy and listening to what he had to say and some points, giving him the benefit of the doubt, and now realizing after a lot of experience that he is such a conspiracy grifter to no end, a very good one of the best ones out there, that he will inevitably find an excuse for it not to have happened, right? And as we've gone along as well, he said that, we need executive orders. He's going to be debriefing these people and that people, and that the transition team and that one of the presidents will have to deal with this. You'll see. We'll just let it roll. We'll let it roll. But anyways, yeah, two groups. One group supposedly wants to go and reactivate themselves and take out this other group, right? And they've all come to Dr. Stephen Greer, emergency room doctor turned UFO genius, to be the voice, to bring it to the people.
Equivalent of beyond the speed of light stuff. So it's a very the world we're living in right now, my friends, is smoke signals, and this organization that's a very transnational have things that are equivalent of beyond the speed of light stuff. So I think that we
see how I just grazed right over that. These people have the beyond the speed of light stuff. Okay,
we have to look at this in a very dry-eyed way. I'm not at all hopeless.
Very dry-eyed way. Interesting terminology
about it. It's a difficult time. I knew it would come to this at some point, and I was very shaken about 19 months ago when two groups of people approached.
Here it is.
One are these deep, covert illegal operations guys wanting to come forward, and the other is
one is these right now. Earlier, it was just a guy, and this guy he ran several. Maybe it was a group of guys. I don't know, but this one guy, the leader, runs 6 different Black Ops sites. Okay, and all these Black Ops sites have this technology, and at some point, he got it. I don't know. Just let him go.
It's this group that were asked to be stood up to take down these illegal programs, and that happened within about 2 months of each other, and they didn't know each other. And I had put them together in a handshake. The director of that team that would be
that's new. That just came out too. He's been talking for 40 minutes. I mean, this interview's been 40 minutes long, minus a couple 3-minute ads, right? And that's the first time he's brought up the fact there are two groups and he's put them together in a handshake. Well, now they have an agreement, so why they need to be activated? What are we worried about? Everything's going to be fine.
The strike team to get these illegal sites under control has joined me out in the desert and met this gentleman.
He does his thing with his ear too. Like he reaches up for his ear. I think it was when he gets really full of shit, he touches his ear. I've noticed that as well. But let's scroll it back a minute.
And I had put them together in a handshake. The director of that team that would be the strike team to get these illegal sites under control has joined me out in the desert and met this gentleman and some of the people on his team. So they're communicating. But the defectors are being very careful.
So like, how did the guy in the strike team figure this out if it's so secret? One, okay. Two, he went to go meet the guys trying to take out, and they did a handshake or whatever, and they talked in the desert, right? All right, what else?
He hasn't given me a date. He's just given me a general idea of what the evidence that would be dumped out would be, and it would involve the non-human.
What are you doing?
And met this gentleman and some of the people on his team. So they're communicating. But the defectors are being very careful. He hasn't given me a date. He's just given me a general idea of what the evidence that would be dumped out would be, and it would involve the non-human craft, extraterrestrial craft downing. Now, one of the sites I was
downing of the non-human extraterrestrial craft, from which they've gotten thousands of years ahead of every government on Earth and every military on Earth. Yet they don't use the technology to do anything but run psyops on people to dance around the skies. To everything that you see is about this, right? They're running a hoax, and according to him, they can just push one button and turn it on off, right? But they have to have this whole strike team. So I'm guessing there's a bigger organization. There's a group of these people in the organization that want out. There's a strike team on the other side that wants to go in and make sure it's take it out forever. And the main guy on the black ops rogue military bad guy team wants to bring up evidence, video evidence, footage, whatever, of this alien technology, and that's supposed to do it, right? Like that wouldn't set off like, you know, this group of people that I guess there's more than just these guys. It keeps growing. The story keeps changing. You have to keep up with it. And like that would set them off just to push the button to set off their Star Trek technology on all of us, right? That's not a dangerous thing. He's not worried about that. Everything's going to be fine, right?
It's over. He just turned very nonchalantly to me and the director of this Green Beret and said, look, we knocked down 1 or 2 extraterrestrial vehicles per year over this one site. Then we flew 100 and some miles out in the desert to another site that similarly has the same equipment. Now, one of the things they're using.
We knocked down 1 or 2 alien vehicles. Did you say a month or a year?
Knocked down 1 or 2 extraterrestrial vehicles per year over this one site. Then we flew 100 and some miles.
How many years? How many years have they been doing this? With what? This technology. They have technology to knock down, and these aliens, they're so smart. They keep coming back. They keep coming back. Is this where we're not supposed to be flying, dude? I don't know, man. You know? And so, oh my God, we're down again. Oh shit. Oh shit. You know, then the next year comes around. Well, we totally forgot that not to go in this area, right? Because we're just aliens. We're kind of dumbasses. We have all this great technology, but you know, we just show up anywhere we want, and oh my God, we're down on the ground again. You know, they keep taking them down 2 per year. I mean, when are they going to send the mothership and just be like, hey, dude, we're going to take this site out with our alien technology? I mean, come on, man. Seriously? And people buy this guy. They buy into what he's saying. I can't believe it.
Out in the desert to another site that similarly has the same equipment. Now, one of the things they're using to do this, people go, yeah, what are you using? You know, I'm using bullets and I'm using lasers. They're using a very advanced version of an electromagnetic pulse weapon. Now, of course, these are illegal under the International Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty.
Electromagnetic pulse weapons are illegal. Did you guys know that? I didn't even know we had any of those. Okay. Electromagnetic pulse weapons are illegal. We're not supposed to use those, even against aliens.
But they use them. And they are at these test ranges for both the man-made ones to harden them, see how they will work. But when they have an opportunity to pick up an extraterrestrial vehicle, they can target it and knock it out of the sky, because what an EMP, a directional energy.
These dudes, man. Like, I can't believe this guy on our show.
Weapon that's EMP
does.
It has also embedded in it something called a scalar longitudinal electromagnetic field.
This is where he starts talking over their heads, right? So this is the thing where he's like, I'm super smart emergency room doctor guy, but I'm going to talk over your head like I'm some kind of like astrophysics scientist. You know, I've debriefed all these people. That's where I get this information from. I'm super smart, so I can remember it all. And then, so now I'm going to talk over your head so you can't contradict anything that I'm saying.
That is multiples of the speed of light. Tesla talked about it back in the 30s.
This is a fallacy he's committing right here. Hold on.
Magnetic field that is multiples of the speed of light. Tesla talked about it back in the
multiples of the speed of light. Tesla talked about it. So now he's gaining credibility because Tesla, you know, throw that name out there. Nikola Tesla said it. All right. He said it. So it's true.
I think 30s. And those will totally disable all electronics on any object that is in 3 dimensions, let's say, that isn't trans-dimensional. And so
trans-dimensional. So he just said trans-dimensional shit where is real, right? He just slipped that in there, right? He slipped in trans-dimensional, real. You know, this stuff will work on anything in the 3rd dimension, but when they slip off into the other dimensions, oh, look out. They ain't going to be able to deal with that, right? Oh, shit. I can't believe they sit there and just like, wow, this is so fascinating, guy.
You know, yep. Well, you know, and this begs the question, why are these other non-human civilizations here?
A lot begs the question when you're talking, dude. That's like your go-to. Why are they here? Why they keep going back to the same spot to get shot down? Yeah, I know we're all wondering this. Tell us, please.
They're certainly not hostile. I mean,
they're not hostile, but we are. We're shooting 2 down a year. What the? You don't think they're going to get hostile after a little while? Well, no, just go ahead. It's okay if you shoot us. Don't shoot 3 down a year at the same spot. You can shoot 2 down a year at different spots, and we're okay with it. Oops, double click. Let's go.
And given what I know, what we've done to probably 1,000 or more of these objects.
Uh-huh.
And thousands of these ETs have been killed.
They don't
Some
talk
are still
to each
living,
other.
by the way. There are some that are still captured alive in some of these underground facilities that we would.
Okay, underground aliens, guys, roll it out. Here we go. 42 minutes in, underground aliens. Earlier, they were capturing people from in 2009. A group of soldiers, Marines, were in Indonesia going through the jungle. Now you're going to say, by the time I get done with this, I've seen this movie. I'll tell you which one it is. All right. And they came across a 300-foot hexadecimal shaped UFO with military humans that look like military, but of no military they're sure of, who were putting disaffected people, survivors of a tsunami earthquake, into crates and then putting them on the ship to take them to these underground bunkers to do experiments on them. And these Marines came across them and they talked to them. They're like, oh yeah, you can come with us. Right. That story is amazing. Make sure you check out part 1, dude. Part 1 is the setup, and we're just getting started here on part 2. But yeah, there we go. That's what the underground bases are. Now there's aliens there, and some of them are still alive.
Like to see liberated
aliens.
Yeah.
I just like to capture his expressions. Aliens. Okay.
Still alive.
Aliens are from Guatemala and Venezuela. Let's not mix things up, for God's sake.
I know, that's my bad. Yeah.
Oh, is that specific?
Aliens.
Half the time you use that word the way it's used in our culture, you're talking about someone from wherever.
What's the proper term? Non-human?
I just call them extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial.
I just call them extraterrestrials. That's all. Yeah, it's cool.
Still good. Now, can these energy weapons affect weather? Are they part of anything? Start fires? Can they do really anything? They're just way ahead advanced. We don't know. We can't.
Those would be. Those are different weapons.
Different weapons. Yeah, we got those too. Don't worry. We got anything you can imagine, we can do. Just let your imagination run wild. I'll make it true.
They have the ability to trigger fault lines and cause earthquakes. So they're all kinds of
great.
Yeah, lovely things. All right. So
yeah. And there you are in California, Joe Dirt, with his hat over here. See, Joe Dirt. There you are. You're in California. They're gonna find you.
I don't want to. I don't want to go too far.
No, it's just great. I mean,
it's just good news.
No, I'm not scared. It's just sorry, Woody Allen.
These guys are chickens, man.
Here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Where would the safest place to be on the planet right
Not
now?
on the planet.
I let that out. He's about to say something that I think is the most profound and accurate thing I've ever heard him say. I remember this part from my first review of this. This is actually really good. I think this is actually the best thing he's ever said in the entire time I've ever listened to him.
My grandmother on my dad's side was Cherokee, and the saying, Native American saying, is there are no safe places, only safe people. So
that's true. That's true. That's the truest statement you'll ever hear out of his mouth. And I don't know if there's really Cherokee in his family. Maybe there is. Maybe I don't know. But aside from that, there's no safe place, only safe people.
So you need to be with good people, and that's what you should do.
Cross your fingers.
Yeah.
Even major city centers.
That's not Stephen Greer, by the way. That's not Steve.
Is not more dangerous right now.
I don't want to go too far into that. I mean, it depends on your own worldview, but
I got you. Yeah,
he doesn't want to go too far into it, but listen to him.
Privately, someday I'll tell you what I do.
See, I'll tell you what I do. See, he's got it. He's got it all figured out.
Well, what about when they say this nuclear bomb day, and of course, then they show a photo of like, oh, it was in a truck and then it was gone. It never made it. I'm like, I didn't know they're shipping these by UPS 3-day air. You think they have
on Amazon
security around them where they go, has anyone seen the bomb we had? Never got to the port. So, and then anyone hears that, and then they run with that for 3 or 4 days, and it just goes in a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
And
these guys didn't follow up. I did a special breaking news report on it. It's in the playlist, right? That explains what happened. It wasn't a bomb. It was a CAT scan machine with some radioactive material they use for CAT scans, right? It was FedEx, okay, to a doctor's office where they're doing CAT scans for cancer. Okay, they're scanning for cancer, and they found it and they disposed of the material. Case closed. We solved another one, gang. But these guys, these multi-million-dollar Hollywood actors with a podcast with a conspiracy grifter on talking to 2.2 million people, 2.2 million views on this video. I wonder if it's gone up since a couple hours ago when I was doing part 1. Yeah, 2.2 million views that this video got, people who actually tune in to listen to Dana Carvey and David Spade talk about stuff. Hollywood actors, right? Definitely not our folks. I don't think many of our folks tune into David. I mean, I like the guys as actors. I said this before. I like them as actors. I'm sure they're lovely people. But as far as going there for intriguing information and worldview crafting, no. I go there for some comedy, maybe to see some throwback skits, do the church lady, man. Come on, do the church lady. Give Rachel Maddow back her glasses so she can see, anyways, but yeah, I don't think this is a real base crowd. That's all I'm saying.
Congress seems like some nice people there genuinely aren't being told, obviously, and some people do know and they're not saying it. So I guess it all just points to don't cause a panic because, but how do you not do that? Is there just, I had heard maybe from you or someone in the past that these,
here's an idea. Don't put Stephen Greer on your podcast.
Extraterrestrials, they want to be known at some point and no one could ever be ready for it. It's just, is there ever a point when people could get their head around it?
I think that, this gets into the question of how is it disclosed? If it's disclosed truthfully, it would be told.
Okay.
That these are, these civilizations would be the equivalent of Gandhi or Martin Luther King. I mean, they're obviously concerned about our violence and our weaponization of space and our use of atomic and then nuclear weapons.
They're concerned about it, but they keep sending ships here every year to get shot down, and then we just dissect them. And we have their brothers and sisters locked up in underground bases, but that's okay. I can see why they'd be concerned about that, but I don't know why they don't do anything about it. They're like Gandhi or MLK. Well, MLK wasn't, neither one of them actually were all about just completely standing down and being ran over. I don't think. I think they had some morals and some principles, but I think aliens with 1,000-year ahead of our military technology can come back really quickly and take care of business if they wanted to.
That's why you have had so many reports around nuclear sites, both the civilian power.
They don't want that, right?
Yeah, that's definitely not a foreign adversary trying to gather any intelligence at all around nuclear sites as potential targets or security security gaps, anything like that. Definitely, our foreign adversaries would never want to understand this kind of stuff. It's definitely the aliens being concerned about our usage of it, even though we've been using it for quite a while now and we're still here, right?
Right. No, because one of the things that happens when you detonate one of these atomic or nuclear weapons,
here we go.
It puts out an electromagnetic pulse, but it also puts out embedded within it a scalar signal that tears the fabric of space-time.
Oh, man, I knew it. How in the world? God, you did it. It was you. You broke space-time. You tore a hole in the fabric of space-time with your scalar signal from your nuclear weapon. Oh, no. We're in trouble now. Well, how are we going to fix that?
Is a complicated physics and
very complicated physics. It's way above your pay grade, Dana and David. So I won't try to explain it to you small brains, but I'll just tell you, I take my word for it. I'm very credible.
Working with a man with 6 PhDs who works for
six PhDs. He's working with a man who has 6 PhDs. 6, not 5. 6 of them. What are they in?
One of the big corporations, and his specialty are these scalar systems. And so
you're working with him too? Where do you find the time to go to the bathroom, dude? You're working with everybody everywhere at all times. You're debriefing here. You're writing this. You're writing that. You're all over the place. Do you have a time machine? Did the aliens give you some kind of special powers? How can you be doing all this all the time? You're talking to Black Ops here. You're talking to underground military here. You're on this. You're on that. You're a busy dude, man.
I think when we detonated those first atomic weapons in 45, it's well documented that there were extraterrestrial vehicles.
Oh yeah. I read about that in history class. I remember that. Yeah, I remember the when the atomic bombs went off back in World War II. I guess when Heisenberg did his tests or whatever, Was it him? I guess did he actually do the test himself? Anyways, there's well documented. I remember there's a giant flying saucer right there in the background of the picture of the mushroom cloud. They were here immediately to repair the tear and the scalar wave made in space time. Right? Okay.
And
keep it straight.
sightings around that time. There was a crash of one in 1945 at White Sands. Everybody has heard of.
Yeah, we've all heard about the White Sands one. Yeah, it's old news, Stephen.
Roswell, but there have been many of them.
Roswell.
Yeah,
many of them. Yeah, the Roswell was definitely not a cover for the stealth bomber, not at all.
But those don't just come. You don't go through stellar space and can't fly through a thunderstorm. I mean, every jet pilot I know can do that. These were even back then. We had a type of electromagnetic weapon.
Even back then, even before we knew what the hell they were, we had these things. That's amazing.
With low yield, with low success, as you can call it.
And they had low yield UFOs, so that makes sense, right? Because they weren't as advanced as they are now.
Success. We're effective. Now the systems are quite advanced. And the big worry here is that at what point, if we don't fix our own problem as humans, at what point will it need to be corrected for us, which would actually be the worst case.
Yeah, I mean, what point? How many more UFOs do we have to shoot down before? How many more do we get? How many more freebies do we get before it has to be corrected for us? I mean, God forbid, we have the technology. We have Star Trek level technology from some rogue bad actor group that's corporate military that's paid for by a black budget. It comes out of our taxes, right? That we don't know about, that no president knows about. Let's just keep this all in perspective here. How long until we learn our lesson? What do we have to do to get this straight, Steve? We have to stop using nuclear energy, go to solar. What is it? How do we fix this problem before it's too late? I mean, how many more UFOs can we shoot down and steal the technology from before it's too late? Tell us, Stephen.
Scenario. I don't think at all that they're hostile. If they were, we'd be, as one congressman said to me, we'd be our charcoal briquette floating through space would be done.
Oh, the congressman said that to you? That's hilarious.
Right? Because when all this started, remember, we had vacuum tubes. We didn't even have transistor. We didn't have.
Oh, we had a weapon that could take down a UFO. I mean, shit. Don't forget, you just said that.
Integrated circuits. So, or any of that. So obviously these civilizations are trying to
You see what he's doing? You see how he wraps this stuff around and wraps it around and wraps it around? He goes real technical and he comes back. He goes real technical. He's kind of covering his ass as he's moving in a circle. Yet at the same time, you're still going to get the same outcome. You're going to believe most people are going to believe what he's saying, because he's been doing it for a long time. And he has all these official sources. He's talked to congressman. A congressman told him, "Oh yeah, we'd be in big trouble if they ever got pissed off that we keep shooting their people down and stealing them."
Be very patient, but I think we're getting close to end game here, and here's why.
You've been saying this since the beginning. We're getting close to end game. Disclosure's coming. We're getting really close. We're on the verge of it. It's just about to happen.
One of the reasons why these guys are defecting, it's not just this one guy. It's people from six black sites.
Now he's changed the story again. So in part one, he said that this one guy was head of these six. He was the head of a guy. He was the head of this group, right? And that he also oversaw 6 black sites. The 6 black sites, using numbers as in a way to build a story, right? There are 6 of them. 6 black sites, right? And now I guess he's recruiting people to leave from all 6 black sites, right? And he said that they don't want to have to make this kinetic, right? And this is before he brought up the handshake story. So before he's like, yeah, this group, they don't want to make it kinetic, so we're hoping that we can just, remove enough people from these organizations that it will stop the function. So like if you take the accounting and the HR teams out, it's just the whole thing that's been running for 50 years since they told Eisenhower to go jump in a lake, according to him, right? This whole black ops, rogue military, corporate, underground group that has nefarious purposes, that has technology that's thousands of years ahead of us, that can transverse space-time at multiple times the speed of light. These people, right? These people. That so now they're going to we got multiple people at these sites. Now the story is building again.
And is that the technologies that have been reverse engineered and put into deployment as weapon systems are so advanced that organization has become a threat to extraterrestrial peoples. So,
wow. Look out, Klingons are coming. All right. So now we're a threat to them, even though we've been shooting down their UFOs for two times a year and multiple places. So like 4, 6, 8 UFOs a year we're shooting down. And they keep coming back to those places to get shot down, which is really nice of them. But they, we've been reverse engineering their technology. And of course, in the Roswell and way back then in the Sandy, whatever, we had, it was good enough. It was good enough. Oh shoot. Okay, connection's good. I'm just recording from my own machine. Why would it care? Oh, yeah, I have to get the StreamYards. Okay, sorry, I'm digressing because I'm seeing some connection issues here. All right. So hopefully that came through okay on the recording. Anyways, just more of the same. Okay. Let's back it up here for a second. Yeah. So, anyways, it's very concerning because this group now that could take over the world at any second has become more powerful than the aliens. So that's why these guys are leaving. Because now, when they finally accomplish their goal, they get concerned.
That organization has become a threat to extraterrestrial peoples. So, in other words, we've downed their objects, studied them, and over these 7 decades, come up with technologies. But
7 decades, 70 years. Okay, well, good. We got a new time frame here to work from.
Instead of saving the biosphere with so-called 0 point free energy.
There it is. Okay, that's another thing he talks about. 0 point free energy. It's everywhere, but they're just keeping it from us. That's why we need disclosure. And that was his big push during the earlier parts of the Disclosure Project. Well, they're hiding the 0 point energy because they know that if they don't keep the oil going, they don't keep the fossil fuel going, they won't have power anymore. Now it's moved on. You see how it's evolved over time? If you know how the Disclosure Project worked, the 0 point energy was a big talking point for a long time. That's all you talk about. They're hiding 0 point energy from us. God forbid if they would just release it. Nikola Tesla told us about it, so it's true. If they just would release it, everything would be fine. We'd live in a utopia. Everybody have everything. You don't need to worry about because energy is expensive, right? And shit, they control the energy. They control everything. Think about it. It's true, right? So that was his pitch forever. So now this group now, he just brought 0 point energy. So get ready for that pitch to come. Let's back up and go.
But instead of saving the biosphere with so-called 0 point free energy or what have you, they've been kept very secret.
Why did he say biosphere? I just had to stop again. Why do you say biosphere? Just save the planet, all right? Save the planet.
So-called 0 point free energy or what have you. They've been kept very secret, and they've been used by this Frankenstein that's gotten up off the table and walked away. And I don't know that that can happen much longer. So the people I
don't think it can happen much longer. If the people with the alien technology reverse engineered, they shoot down UFOs 2 times a year from multiple spots, 8 times a year, let's say, maybe 6 to 8 times a year they shoot down UFOs. They got all their technology and they got their aliens co-pilots in prison because they wouldn't use AI or fly them autonomously. There's definitely aliens in those crafts who come to the same spots to get shot down. They're using 0 point energy, right? And they're not letting us have it. And so I don't know how much longer that can go on. It sounds like a big mess to me.
And walked away. And I don't know that that can happen much longer. So the people in that system who are now, they may have started out as a Delta Force Green Beret in their teens or 20s, and now they're middle-aged and at a senior level. They know how dangerous this is, and that's why they're taking these risks to come forward. And
okay, stop. Now you just crossed the story over. All right. So if you remember when we started this video tonight, and if you were here for part 3, which is part 1 of this interview, right? Thank you. You're welcome for me confusing the hell out of it by putting different parts in the title. I don't even know how to even deal with it, but that's the way it's going to go down. But he said that it was the good guys that were the Green Berets and the Delta Force guys. Now the bad guys are the Green Beret Delta Force guys. You see, he's been running in circles for so long during this interview, he can't even keep track of his own story. And lucky for him, he's only talking to Joe Dirt and the church lady. I mean, he knows his audience. He's like, okay, yeah, he's not going to come on with Winning Reality and try to push the story through because I'm going to blow it up constantly. There's no way. This guy's never been in an interview where he's been pushed like this. Like, where real questions be, hold on, back up. I've been taking notes here. You've changed your story 3 or 4 times now, Steven. Get it straight. Can we get one freaking narrative and to stick to it? I mean, you're not even good at doing that. I don't understand how this guy has gotten by with this for so long.
It's why I did. I mean, I'm 69 now. I should be retired to come forward, and it's why I did. I'm 69 now. I should be retired and just seeing my 12 grandkids.
This is why you did it. You were a doctor, emergency room doctor, and you came forward because at
a senior level, they know how dangerous this is. And that's
because you knew how dangerous this was when you decided to come and start doing this 25, 30 years ago. You knew all this shit, yet you say it's evolved over time. And you just met these groups that you're talking to right now, met between 19 and 20 months ago. Get your story straight, dude.
Taking these risks to come forward. And it's why I did. I'm 69 now. I should be
69.
retired and just seeing my 12.
Okay, so he's 69. He's almost 70. Okay. He should be retired.
And it's why I did. I'm 69 now. I should be retired and just seeing my 12 grandkids. And so
you have 12 grandkids. 12 grandkids. That means he's been able to afford to raise a family and do this. Granted, he was a doctor. That's fine, right? Doing this conspiratainment grift he's been on for a decade and a half, putting his face out there. 12 grandkids now that are going to go out there and say, my grandpa was Stephen Greer. And, and go into, does he talk of, this is how he talks at Thanksgiving and Christmas? Is he giving out like alien technology for his Christmas presents? I mean, 12 grandkids. Congratulations, dude. You're rocking. That's your life, man. What are you doing out here doing this bullshit? Right? I mean, how ego driven are you? I want, I mean, retire, dude. You got enough money? Retire, enjoy the kids. What are you doing? Let somebody else grip for a while. Dang.
Of this madness. But when you realize what's at stake, you just say, I got to do something.
Yeah, I bet you buy all the expensive steaks for dinner, man. I'll tell you that. With all that money you're pulling in from your books and your videos and your appearances on Hollywood Actors podcast, nothing's going to come of this, though. He'll just keep going.
This madness. But, when you realize what's at stake, you just say, I got to do something, and they're trying to do what they can do. So they've reached out to me to sort of speak to this in preparation, but also to get this information to various leaders around the world.
Could I ask you a question?
Various leaders around they reached out to Stephen Greer, of all people, right? They didn't reach out to anybody else. Not Donald Trump. Not Elon Musk. Not Elon Musk. They reached out to Dr. Stephen Greer, the guy who got busted putting on fake alien encounters off the coast of Florida and California or something, someplace that has a coast, charging people for fake alien encounters. A guy who put out a documentary about an alien, a miniature alien. He said he found and was going to have biopsied because there's some brain tissue in it. Turns out to be a premature baby that was mummified a long time ago. So desecrating a dead body, basically, for money. Right? This is who they reached out. These Delta Squadron, Green Beret, Patriots with alien technology that's thousands of years ahead of the military, black budget ops, military, corporate combined, some kind of corporate fascist dictatorship, alien technology people, right? And with consciences now that shoot down UFOs year round, all kinds of places. And so now they're worried about it and they know what's at stake. So they're coming forward. They're using zero point energy to make their coffee and run the microwave down in the underground bases where they torture or they experiment on disenfranchised people, and aliens are also down there hanging out too. Okay, we're caught up now.
To this in preparation, but also to get this information to various leaders around the world.
Various leaders around the world. International man of mystery, Dr. Stephen Greer, bringing this message around the world, but it's supposed to be super secret, and I would scare the shit out of everybody if it was real, which it isn't. And he's supposed to be prepping people because he's the prep guy,
To a question about the rogue military organization. I mean, one thing I'm just trying to connect the dots here is that because they came in contact with alien technology, they had this power, and so they used this power to create this rogue thing. But in the big picture, what is their goal for themselves? Because they're human, right? So they want world domination, billions of dollars. I mean, what is their?
It's like a movie.
They're just sociopaths. They want to.
Yep. No, they are. I mean, they're sociopaths. Some are psychopaths, and they have the ability to hoax all kinds of stuff.
Do you think I'll answer the question? Let's see.
You know, there was a, and this has been threatened against me, by the way. There was a whistleblower last year who wanted to come.
Okay, so he just came out of it. He just went into a story, right? So he agreed with one thing. Yes, they're psychopaths and they're sociopaths. Let's listen to the way he avoids the question. I don't know if he's going to come back to it or not, but look at the way he does the swerve. They call it the swerve.
And they have the ability to hoax all kinds of stuff. You know,
they're just sociopaths. They want to.
Yep. No, they are. I mean, they're sociopaths.
So he just took the last. So see, if Dana, what Dana should have done is stopped at the first part of his question. He shouldn't have given him answers. He gave him answers by saying, "Oh, they're just psychopaths or sociopaths." He let his brain go just a little bit too far there and into his own ideas about what the answer could be. And now Steven has picked up on what Dana wants to hear, right? What he thinks it is. So he's going to agree with them, and then he's going to elaborate on it. So let's watch the anatomy of a grifter right here and the anatomy of a PsyOp and how people do this, right? This is a very interesting thing that's happening right now.
Some are psychopaths. And they have the ability to hoax all kinds of stuff. You know, there was a, and this has been threatened against me, by the way. There was a whistleblower last year who wanted to come forward from an operation that had been out in the northern Nevada desert. They're called the Nevada Test Range, where we used to detonate atomic nuclear weapons and test them, who was on a team retrieving both disabled man-made UFOs. They were triangular ones. Mostly those were built by Northrop Grumman or Raytheon. But then he escalated to being part of a retrieval team when they stunned and it just landed. It didn't crash, an extraterrestrial vehicle. And
the question is, what are they after?
And when he tried to defect, he was harassed. They actually set up a fake abduction event. We have the whole account. He was going to come to Congress and privately brief Senate intelligence and armed services people and go to the Pentagon to give his testimony. We were in the process of booking his ticket. And there were guys that showed up at his door and they said, look at your phone and look at your computer. And they had embedded child pornography all over it. And they said, you will go to prison.
That's the easy one, right?
All right. That kind of that dirty trick.
Yeah, that's the easy one, isn't it, David?
These guys can do the deep fakes, the AI associated stuff, the ability to penetrate. And so often what happens, these whistleblowers, they get right to the edge and then these thugs pull a trick like that. Now, I've had those games played on me for almost 30 years. I mean, I've had death threats, I've had attempts, I've had defamation, all manner of horrible things. And I was told yesterday it's going to get much worse for me in the next little bit.
Who told you that? Where'd you hear that from? Who told you that yesterday? How'd they tell it to you? Remember what the question is. What are they after?
And I said, well, you just bake this into the cake, you know, and people who are stupid enough and gullible enough to believe that stuff, you know, go believe it. But I think this is very much stopped dead in the tracks, most people, because between those threats and I don't talk about this that often, but back in 1992 as a young doctor, when I first started getting involved with it.
So now we've had 2-3 stories mixed in. The question is, what are they after?
The head of Army Intelligence, General Stubblebine, offered me personally $2 billion if I would join his team and not pursue what I'm doing.
General Stubblebine, hold on, wait a minute, time out. Let's roll back here. The General Stubblebine offered him $2 billion to shut the hell up. Dr. Stephen Greer, stop it. You're blowing the whole thing, dude. Take the $2 billion and run. Hold on.
Get involved with this. The head of Army Intelligence, 92, was a young doctor when I first started.
1992. In 1992. All right, go on.
Get involved with this. The head of Army Intelligence, General Stubblebine, offered me personally $2 billion.
General Stubblebine from somewhere unknown, head of security, head of intelligence, offered me $2 billion to shut up and go away in 1992. 1992. 1992. At 1992, $2 billion, $2 billion. Okay, so look, what was the national debt in 1992? right? $2 billion. What was that worth in today's money? Right. And how would a general get his hands on that kind of cash? Huh? And he's going to come to Dr. Stephen Greer in 1992 and bribe him and say, please don't do this, Stephen. Now, Stevens just knows all this stuff, and they've been shooting down 2 UFOs a year from multiple sites. I mean, just probably 4 to 6 a year at least, right? Right. And so back in 1992, he must have known somehow that Stephen was just going to go through with this, and he had to stop him. So he came up with $2 billion in 1992. And decided to say, hey, you just take this money and go away, Stephen, and everything is going to be all right. Okay.
If I would join his team and not pursue what I'm doing, that was
join his team. So this would be his team. What was he part of the team that's doing this? Who is his team? You just said he was part of the intelligence agency, the head of this intelligence agency.
I don't talk about this that often.
Yeah,
but back in 1992, as a young doctor, when I first started getting involved with this, the head of Army Intelligence, General Stubble.
Army Intelligence. Okay, the head of Army Intelligence. In 1992, when he was a young surgeon, he just started getting involved in this, and he was already bribed $2 billion. $2 billion in 1992 money not to do it and to join his team. How'd they let this fly in the interview? How'd they let this fly? None of this makes any sense. It's not even plausible. And here I am blowing the lid off of everything. No one's tried to offer me $2 billion to stop. No one's tried to offer me $2 billion. Not yet. I mean, come on. Where's my bribe, guys?
Buying offered me personally $2 billion if I would join his team and not pursue what I'm doing. That was a lot of money back then.
Where would he get that money? That's $2 billion. How does he just move government money around?
Talking about. There's so much money flowing. We don't even know
moving government money.
Well, what he told, there are all kinds of creative sources.
Yeah,
this was going to come out of seized assets out of Eastern Europe after the Soviet.
All right, let's just back
and they were assets.
So much money flowing.
It's $2 billion,
and not pursue what I'm doing.
So okay, they didn't call.
Where would he get that money? It's $2 billion.
See, finally, the light bulb went off for Dana. Finally, where would he get that money?
How does he just move government money around?
Talking about. There's just so much money flowing. We don't even know
moving government money.
Well, what he told
David trying to cover. Yeah, where's the money?
There are all kinds of creative sources.
Yeah,
this came
creative sources, quote unquote, creative sources, quote unquote. Oh, he's backed into a corner right now. Let's see how he's going to get out of this.
This was going to come out of seized assets.
Seized assets. See, it was going to come out of seized assets by the director of Army Intelligence. The director of Army Intelligence was going to use seized assets to bribe young surgeon Dr. Stephen Greer to not go through with this, even though when he first came out with the Disclosure Project, he wasn't talking about any of this.
Out of Eastern Europe after the collapse of the Soviet Union.
Out of Eastern Europe after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Because the Army Intelligence has control over all that.
And they were wagons. But I mean, this was 92, right? So we're talking 32 years ago. Jeez. And they had seized.
Was there a number assets where you would have said yes? I mean,
what was your number?
What if you said no? $2 billion is.
No, I mean, because that would be 10 billion today, wouldn't it? If I invested it well,
you'd be on
I'd have more than I'd be better off than Elon. But anyway,
Elon. Oh, you stepped in that, didn't you?
I don't care about that. I've never cared about that. But but this is what my point.
You don't care about $10 billion. You don't care about $10 billion to not go through a life of BS that hasn't amounted to anything anyways. Like nothing you've done since 92 has made a damn bit of difference. You could have had $10 billion, bro.
Here is people who have this sort of information. You're offered enormous amounts of money and threats. So
what information did you have? You didn't have this information right here that you're talking about, because you weren't talking about this information back in 92. You just met these guys 19 to 20 months ago. The two groups, they came to me. They came to you. They told you all this stuff. This is all new, right? You learned this stuff from debriefings and intelligence gathering.
It's blackmail and bribery altogether. Right. And the problem is most people are going to succumb. At a certain point, you're going to cry uncle when the pain gets so great.
You're a man, but you're a man's man, right? And you could take it. You're Dr. Stephen Greer?
I've had 3 people on my team killed.
Oh, that 3 people? You've gotten 3 people killed? You've gotten 3 people killed. You've gotten 3 people killed over the top. For what? They haven't gotten your ass or any of your kids or any of your grandkids? How? What? With their alien technology and their ability to transport the transporters? They can't just transport into your place right now and just snap your neck and leave. How about a disintegrator? You got a disintegrator?
Years.
In suspicious ways.
No, absolutely killed by these people who did not want this.
So I'm sure their families are very happy to hear this.
So you must have some anger too, then.
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
human,
of course, but
but I'm not that guilty. I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. Damn it.
I mean, everyone knows what we're signing on to, and I'll say that these guys who
so I don't feel guilty about it. They knew what they were getting into. They knew they could get disintegrated eaten by a giant space squid. I mean, it's just we all signed on to it.
They really are patriotic. They're in a bad situation. I know. Visualize, just everyone listening to this for a minute. Imagine,
just forget about the people that his team members don't feel a goddamn lick of any kind of emotion about this. Move on. Get back to the Patriots. Get back to the narrative. And pray to God they don't remember Elon.
Imagine being a young man and you're very well trained special forces, Delta, Green Beret, Navy SEAL.
Delta, Green Beret. He loves those guys. He loves them. Navy SEAL. Don't throw in the Navy SEAls now. Next time he mentions the group, there's going to be Navy SEAls in there. Watch.
And you get pulled into operations. They're all top secret, special compartmented information. Need to know, very compartmented. And you just do, yes, sir. You do your thing. Yes, sir. Next thing you know, you get high enough in there, you realize, wow, this is illegal and criminal. And then you get introduced to criminal activities such as arms running, drug running.
What? You get involved with it. You don't know that it's illegal. You're running hoaxes on the American people, right? So that's not unconstitutional. You're working on secret alien technology and underground bases with aliens and people in cages, human beings in cages being experimented on. None of that's illegal or constitutional. And then when it comes to drugs and gun running, all of a sudden that shows up. They're into that too. Why don't they just use a teleporter? Why they got to run them? They could just teleport them.
Human trafficking, monstrous embezzlement schemes, and things like this.
Embezzlement. And why? They can just teleport the money right to themselves.
At that point, you've been part of something. How do you come forward? Now, one thing we have arranged.
You've been part of something that nobody knows about. How do you come forward? Okay, you call Dr. Stephen Greer. That's who you do. You call Dr. Stephen Greer. Doctor.
Is that there is a law enforcement operation that I'm dealing with that's connected to this strike team that needs to be stood up under an executive order. It needs to happen. Yes.
They can only be stood up under an executive order. It's up to Trump. Trump has to do it, or Biden in his death throes has to do it, right? According to Dr. Stephen Greer. This is the only way that the solution can be stood up. It has to be stood up by executive order only. They can't do anything secret. They can't do it secret because this whole thing is secret, right? So this can't be secret. The club of extraordinary special forces guys that formed in secret, but in order to stand them up properly, you need an executive order. It can't just be one; it has to be a lot of them. You missed that part. For instance, part one has to come from all over the world because this is a multinational thing now, right? It's grown in just 54 minutes. Let's go.
Yesterday, but I don't know that the Biden administration wants to touch this yet. And
you don't know that? I thought you had inside sources. Where's your guys? Where's you guys in the Security Council? Huh? Where's your best friends? You've talked to this guy. Remember, I talked about this earlier. He goes, I've been in touch with every administration since for the last, several decades. Okay, that means that you were in touch with Biden under the Obama administration for 8 years. That means you were in touch with Trump back in 2016. So, what's the problem? What's the problem?
And then, of course, on January 20th, if all goes as planned, then there'll be a new executive or president. So at that point, this has to happen. But they have already, through this law enforcement entity, extended immunity to anyone coming forward. So in other words,
the law enforcement, not judges, not law enforcement said, you're immune. Go ahead and do it. But we have to wait for the executive orders.
And I want to say this very clearly, that anyone who wants to come forward should contact me, drstephenGreer.com.
I do.
If you are a legitimate whistleblower and you have been involved in some
Yep.
things that you found out were not
Yep.
legal, you
I
can get
did.
immunity for that and come forward.
Yes. Give me
And we're
immunity
also
right now.
asking for very serious protection. Now, the level of protection we can provide now.
Can you imagine if someone actually called him? He'd be like, "What? Really?" He'd be like, "Oh shit, Rod, what? Really? Oh, you're full of shit. I know you're lying because I am." It's like,
Now is 24-hour surveillance if there's any threat that comes your way.
oh,
So
good.
that has been
Yeah.
put in place. So this is how we have a heads
good.
up. And I won't say how that's being done because that's sensitive.
That probably would hit. It's sensitive. I won't tell you how we're gonna look. We're gonna spy on you, but it's very sensitive. It's invisible alien bats, and they just they fly around above your head, and if anybody fucks with you, they drink their blood. There you go.
Okay.
It's TSSCI stuff. But
TSSCI.
and I have certainly that around
Super
me.
secret stuff.
But
the drones will continue tonight.
well, they're probably going to continue until at some point. The worst case scenario, my friend, is they escalate this. In other words, we're sort of batting this aside and saying, here's what it is. You know, it's like the movie. If you ever saw The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yeah. I bet you watched that one too many times. Are the drones going to continue? Is what Dana asked, and what Steven said was that well, if this thing escalates, right, that's the worst thing that's going to happen. You know, I don't think he said it they were going to continue or not. He said we didn't want it to escalate. Let's see. Give him another shot.
Legal, you can get immunity for that and come forward. And we're also is 24-hour surveillance if there's any threat that comes your way. That has been put in place. It's TSSCI stuff. But and I have certainly that around me. But
the drones will continue tonight.
Well, they're probably going to continue until at some point. But the worst case scenario, my friend.
See, he didn't answer the question again. So he never answered the question about what they're after. And he didn't answer this question either. You see how this works? Do you see how that works? He never answers any questions. He just goes into stories, right? He takes you on a loop-de-loop. He says a bunch of important things. He throws a bunch of cloud out. He throws a bunch of dates out, right? It's a big old emotional roller coaster ride. He never answers any questions. He's just going to kind of stick to his story, right? And then when this doesn't happen, his fallback is going to be, well, we didn't get the executive orders, or it de-escalated, or there's more negotiations going on behind the scene between the two people I gave the handshake to. They need to work out some more of the details, but yeah, it's coming. Don't you worry. Probably another 30 to 60 days. So keep in touch. Make sure you hit like, share, and subscribe. Ring the bell so you know, get a notification exactly for when this is going down. That's what you need to do to make sure that you're on top of this. And if you want to sign up for my newsletter, and you want to sign up for my website, and you probably want to buy a t-shirt and a mug, okay? Because that way people will know that you're behind this. And believe me, the aliens will be watching, and they'll know that you're one of the good guys when you're wearing my t-shirt. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's for sure. All right, Steven, take it away, buddy.
Is they escalate this. In other words, we're sort of batting this aside and saying, here's what it is. You know, it's like the movie. If you ever saw The Wizard of Oz, it's a great metaphor. So there's this old crudmudgeon that's behind the curtain. They finally pull the curtain back.
He's explaining the Wizard of Oz to people. Really? An old crudmudgeon? Really? Nobody's ever seen the Wizard of Oz. It's like part of culture. Like everybody knows what the Wizard of Oz is, right? Even my kid knows what the Wizard of Oz is. Everybody knows what the Wizard of Oz is. But he's going to explain it to us. Go ahead, Steven. Tell us your version.
And here's this old crudmudgeon scaring the bejeebies out of Dorothy and all the whoever the scarecrow. And he's just this old decrepit fool. But that's what this is. But it's still scary. I mean, they have a
this old decrepit fool has alien technology on the scale of Star Trek. It's just a little different. It's a little different. Instead of using smokes and big gears and turning machines and stuff, right? He uses a holodeck, right? It's just a little different.
Technology to project that kind of fear.
It just disrupts your lifestyle. You're like, what's going on? It's so abnormal.
Yeah. And you know what they call it? They call it stagecraft.
Stagecraft, huh? Did you get, is that what you got your degree in, stagecraft? They call it stagecraft. It's stagecraft. Kind of like this whole disclosure project, right?
An operation. But the question is, then do they get really more serious and start?
Why does it get them just to do this? Just to scare people for what end?
Well, they want people to think that we're under some kind of alien attack because it being unknown.
Yeah, I know. They're really making us think that right now. Nothing to fear. These aren't threats or disturbance. Oh yeah. Alien attack. I feel like that's what it is. For sure. I mean, that's, alien attack. Of course. Are we talking about the Black Ops people who are doing the false flags and causing the whole drone apocalypse thing to happen as a PsyOp against the American people to make us live in fear and think that aliens are coming? They're not doing a good job.
My job is to say, no, those aren't aliens or extraterrestrial. That's our stuff. And even
that's your job to say that. Well, it's his job to say that. That's what everybody's saying.
Advanced stuff you're seeing are actually not. They sure look like they could be not of this world.
Nobody's really seeing advanced stuff. Nobody's seeing advanced stuff. Advanced stuff isn't all lit up. And the orbs are grifts. They're not real. They're people misusing telescopic lenses and camera tricks and things like that to get clicks and views. And then they are other people are taking it, believing it, and then reporting on it as if it's true.
Keep in mind, what is 75 years and trillions of dollars in black budget funding get you technologically when you have the real McCoy? You actually have the interstellar and extraterrestrial vehicles.
When they disappear.
You have to slow him down. That's the trick. Most people just listen to him because it's so long. They'll listen to this hour interview in background while they're doing the laundry or they're doing something around the house, right? And they'll just put it on, they'll listen to it. They'll be like, whoa, that's interesting. Whoa, that's interesting. They'll never stop and really listen to what he's saying. And that's why this has taken so long. It would take a 1 hour interview and turn it into 4 hours of analysis because you have to slow down these fast talking, double talking grifters, right? Otherwise, you miss all their techniques. Like the fact that he doesn't ever answer any questions. If he gets in a spot, he gets himself out of it a certain way, right? And he uses sources that you can't trace, right? He talks about things you can't confirm. He asks you to take how many pages is your notebook right now on how many things he's asked you to take on faith in this interview. Like I asked people at the beginning of part 1, keep a notepad, keep a list of how many times he said something that you have to take on faith that he doesn't have any proof, or you should be like way down the list right now. If you're using paper, you should probably be on your second page at this point. It's all about that. That's the way it works. That's the way they slowly craft you into the narrative, right? You're going to believe him because it's Dr. Stephen Greer. God damn it, from the Disclosure Project. I've seen him on YouTube. Yep, I've seen him on YouTube with official looking people, military contacts, secret black budget underneath the table stuff, right? And you don't know anything about that stuff. The average person doesn't. So he can sound real smart. Even the church lady and Joe Dirt are buying into it.
Appear just in midair.
Yep.
That
the interstellar and extraterrestrial vehicles.
When they disappear just in midair.
Yep.
That's
not the lights turning off. No.
Going faster than we can comprehend.
Well, there's two things. No, actually, it's.
Here we go. Ready for some bombshells? Put on your helmet. Here it comes.
It can be going so fast like a speeding bullet, you don't see it. Right. But it can also be where, let's say you have a big object and you can create an electromagnetic field effect around it where it takes all the matter of that object out of, let's say, sync with 3D, and it goes into another. It's transdimensional. So it actually
transdimensional rates. It's transdimensional. It's trans. The answer is it's trans. So yeah. So when the lights turn off, it's really just going into another dimension. Ooh. Or it's going so fast you can't see it. It's just not that the lights turn off and the drone drops straight down. Right. That's not an effect, right? That's not meant to create an effect. It's transdimensional. I knew it.
Goes from one dimension to another and back. So that's there's a whole spectrum.
You know why? Because it knew you were looking at it. That's why. That's why they did it. Because they knew you, Dana Carvey, you, David Spade, you were looking at it, and it felt your eyes piercing it. Right? And he goes, "Watch this. I'll go to another dimension and come back and really blow their minds."
I understand these technologies very well, by the way, and
I bet
it's a whole spectrum of phenomenon.
It's a whole spectrum of phenomenon. It's a whole spectrum of phenomenon. David Spade and Dana Carvey, You guys don't understand. You're comedians. You're comedic actors. This is a spectrum of phenomena we're dealing with here. Okay, you guys need to be serious about this shit. It's a spectrum of phenomena. I can't explain it to you guys. You guys are comedians. You're from Hollywood. You're actors. Can't understand what a spectrum of phenomena is like to deal with. All right. You have to just trust me. I got your back. I'll cover you on this one. All right. But believe me, it's a spectrum of phenomena. Now shut up.
And one of the big problems arises from people in the National Military Command system not read into the human ones that look extraterrestrial. They can be tricked. I know of a 4-star admiral who was the commander in chief, Atlantic Command.
What's his name?
And Sink Atlantic Command back in the early 80s.
Sink Atlantic Command. Let's go.
There was one of these objects that came off the coast of Newfoundland. And this is, we have this from our Disclosure Project witness. His name is Merle Shane McDowell. He's in.
Oh, it's from a Disclosure Project witness, huh? Oh, you're recalling a story from your good old days, are you? Let's just back this up for 1 second. Let's make sure we get the whole thing.
Atlantic Command, Sink Atlantic Command back in the early 80s. And there was one of these objects that came off the coast of Newfoundland. And this is, we have this from our Disclosure Project witness. His name is Merle Shane McDowell. He's in our archive. You can read his transcript and see his interview. I have been at that command center, basically where World War III would be fought. And, they run all the nuclear submarines from there. And when this event happened, the Admiral panicked. They went to a full code zebra alert.
Oh, full code zebra alert, nah, zebra alert, everybody, zebra alert. We're at zebra alert. What's a zebra alert?
Which means if you don't have a zebra badge on your lapel, the Marines with M16s kill everyone in there.
God damn it. I didn't wear my zebra lapel today, and they called a zebra alert. Oh shit. Here I am. I wore tiger stripes, and god damn it, zebra alert goes off, and freaking Marines are shooting at me. I'm running, I'm ducking under things. And I'm like, no, I'm not a tiger, I'm a zebra. This happened in the wash. It happened in the wash. Right? Yeah, god damn it. I hate it when that happens. They call a zebra alert out of nowhere, and I don't have a zebra lapel on. I mean, God, I feel you, David. I mean, I feel you, Mr. Dr. Stephen Greer, grifter extraordinaire. Zebra alert. Okay, you were there. Luckily, you had your zebra lapel on, evidently, because you're still walking around. And one of these things flew out, and you got someone saw it, and you put them on your grifter panel, and it's on your website now. And okay, back to what's this? We live this great moment here.
If you don't have a zebra badge on your lapel, the Marines with M16s kill everyone in there. We shouldn't be in there. And they didn't know.
Shouldn't be in there. How the hell did you get in there in the first place? How did you get in there in the first place if you're not supposed to be in there? They don't even give you a second to get out. They're like, dude, okay, look, you can come in here, right? You don't have a zebra badge on your lapel, but I'm just warning you, if a zebra alert happens, it doesn't happen. It barely ever happens. But if it happens, right, I'm gonna have to shoot you in the face. All right, I'm just to let you know. But you can go in if you want to, but just know, okay, no hard feelings. I'm just telling you, if a zebra alert happens because you don't have a zebra badge on your lapel right there, right, I'm gonna have to shoot you in the face. I'm just doing my job. But go ahead, go on in. Coffee is on the left over there. If you want to get a couple, you got some snacks to the right. Help yourself. And God, I hope there's no zebra alert today. I hate it when those things happen.
But this thing was, and so we got on the hotline to Moscow. It was
Moscow. Come in, please. This is the general from Sink Atlanta. Where we launch all the nuclear submarines from. We're under zebra alert. There's blood everywhere. Can you tell me what the hell is going on?
Wasn't theirs. But if certain things had escalated, if actions on our part had escalated or been miscalculated,
God forbid it escalates past zebra alert. Good Lord.
We could have been in World War III. This was in 1980 or 81 or something. So the danger of this is not knowing. Knowledge is power, but ignorance.
You think it's a danger. It's not knowing when a goddamn zebra alert sounds off and you don't have your zebra badge on your lapel. Yeah, man. When these things sound off, it gets sketchy, dude. It gets sketchy. Zebra alert.
Part had escalated or been miscalculated,
Don't
we
let
could
it
have been in World War
escalate.
III. This was
Yeah.
in 1980 or 81 or
Don't
something.
escalate
So
it.
the danger of this is not knowing. Knowledge is power, but
Yeah.
ignorance on something that's important is very dangerous for our nation and the world.
Face shot
So
off.
my whole point right now is to let people know your ignorance of the subject is no longer a luxury you can afford if you're in that system. If you're in the legal constitutional government of the United States, Democrat, Republican, socialist, I don't care. You've got to understand these things. You've got to understand the technologies. Now, I have put together a 312 executive briefing document.
Oh God, what, 312 pages? Would you get ChatGPT to write it for you?
Being given to key people in the current and the incoming administration.
Key people are getting the 312 pages of bullshit from Dr. Stephen Greer. They probably see that shit come in. It's probably got a zebra cover on it just to be safe. And they're probably like, yeah, put that shit in the trash.
And Senate Intelligence and Armed Services and some other people.
So you could be faced to.
If I was them, I'd sit around and read it just for kicks, man. Okay, hey, look, we got the new Stephen Greer document, debriefing packet. It's here. It's only 312 pages. Get some beer. Come on over. We're gonna read it tonight. It's like get drunk and read it, man. It'll be great. We'll just laugh our asses off for hours.
Face with President Trump in a month or so in the Oval, debriefing him,
saying this.
No, I'm not going to comment on what we're already doing.
I'm not going to comment on that. Look at that. Look, hold on. This part is precious moments.
And some other people.
So you could be face to face with President Trump.
What's with the air quotes there, Dana? Huh? President Trump. President Trump. What, you don't think he's going to be the real president? What's the problem there? What's the problem, Dana?
In a month or so in the Oval, debriefing him,
saying this.
I'm not going to comment.
Saying this. Look at his face saying this.
No,
possible. I won't be doing that, but it's possible you.
You're not going to be invited, are you?
I go wherever I'm asked to go. If it's someone,
I'm not going to comment on that. I just go wherever I'm asked to go. I'm kind of like Batman or Superman. If President Trump wants to wants the truth of the matter, of course, I'm going to be needing an executive order from him, but I won't comment on whether or not I'll be talking to him because I might get my ass sued.
One sincere who I think needs to know the details. Yeah.
I have one more question.
Oh yeah, this is the bombshell question. Here we go.
But appreciate you being here. Where's Elon in all this? He seems like
oh no. I'm trying to avoid this question all night long. Where's Elon? Where's ace number one space guy in the world right now? Where is the richest, smartest man in the world right now in all this? He's part of the Trump administration. Obviously, he has all the satellites, all the money, all the technology you would ever need to go after these guys. He's got it. You got him. He's got to be in on this. Where is Elon on all this? I know that he's part of this in some way.
Knows the most about space. And
that's a good question. I have not spoken with him.
And I won't say that I have because he'll kick my ass on Twitter. I don't want to have my ass kicked on Twitter. So I don't know where he is. I hadn't talked to him. I guess he knows something about it. I don't know. You'd think that he might know a little bit about it with interdimensional UFOs getting shot down and him having all the satellites. And, I don't know what he thinks about all this. I'm hoping that maybe he'll talk to me one day, or I'm just hoping that he won't put anything on X about me.
I know people who work with him closely. To the extent he's been read in or informed about this is unknown to me.
Really? You don't think you need to get Elon involved in this? I mean, you don't think you need to get Elon involved? 0 point energy. He might be interested in that. I mean, he makes cars and shit and rockets. He might be interested in 0 point energy. He could be. Transporters. I think he likes transporters, holodecks, phaser guns, interdimensional travel, electromagnetic spectrum weapons, it's a spectrum of phenomena, all the things you've been talking about. You don't want to read Elon in on this. You don't know if he's been done. You could send him a tweet. You can tweet him. You can send him an X post right now and he'll just attach the document, just attach it. He'll get it. He'll read it. Just do it. But you're not sure about it? You're going to give it to Congress? You're going to give it to your secret people? You're not going to give it to Elon? Come on, dude. Why would you not include Elon in this? Just send him up. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll help you out. I want to help out. I will clip this part out, okay? And I will put it on X, and I will at Elon and say a message from Stephen Greer to Elon Musk. Why aren't you read in on what's really going on, quote unquote? Okay. How about I'll add that for context. I think you probably meant to say that. You meant to say that. So I'll say it for you, and we'll see how it does.
I think the other person, there's some other people I have been meeting with. I'd rather not name that are incoming.
Yeah, don't name those people. No. Don't name them. Don't name them. Don't worry. Elon, we'll get Elon on this. Everything will be fine.
Cabinet level and very high key people for national security that have a need to know, and that I've been providing this information to in the last.
Are you trying to say that Elon doesn't need to know? Are you saying that he's not a need to know kind of person? I mean, he's going to be he's in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, dude. He runs X. He has SpaceX. Have you ever heard of SpaceX? Have you heard of Tesla? Have you heard of any of these things that he does? You don't think Elon is a need to know kind of guy? I think he needs to know. I think he needs to know. I think he needs to comment on it in front of everybody on the X platform and let us know where he stands.
A few weeks since the election, and they're very responsive. They're concerned, and I know that, for example, RFK Jr. Knows that his uncle Jack Kennedy was killed by the CIA for something related to this. And
related to what? His uncle, and you're saying that RFK Jr. knows his uncle was and possibly his father were murdered in cold blood because of the secret operation that you are in charge of disclosing to everybody? Is that what you're saying, Stephen? Is that what you're saying to 2.2 million viewers of this live stream? Is that what you're saying to Dana Carvey and David Spade, the church lady, and Joe Dirt? Is that what you're saying, Stephen?
He suspects his father was also. So, and in fact, I have a source in London.
You have a source in London that told you this.
He has all the information on that. He's going to hand over to me fairly soon. He's a very senior.
He's going to hand over information about RFK Jr., knowing that his uncle and his father, and possibly his father, were murdered in cold blood because of this group that you're talking about right here. This group, the underground rogue military corporate group with black ops money that shoots down 2 UFOs a year, that has technology that's 1,000 years ahead of our military, that can go transdimensional, create transdimensional vehicles, travel at multiple times the speed of light through time space. Huh? These guys were behind the JFK stuff? Really? And RFK knows this. And this guy, the secret source inside and British intelligence is going to let you know. Is it British intelligence? Please correct me.
Person in the British, all the information on that he's going to hand over to me fairly soon. He's a very senior person in the British establishment.
Oh, very senior person in the British establishment. He's going to hand it over to you, huh? He's going to hand it over to you? Is that what they do? Senior people in the British establishment just hand you stuff about RFK Jr.? Was this guy a spy? Are you talking to a British spy? Is this James Bond? Is James Bond going to give you information on RFK Jr. and how he knows that the secret rogue military corporate psychopath cabal of nefarious black ops money UFO shooters are going to were behind the RFK and JFK murders? Is that what you're saying? And of course, all the rest of it was staged. Can't wait to see that.
A lot of shoes to drop in the world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this stuff should have never been kept secret. You know, when I met with, I don't know if you all remember, now I'm dating myself. I mean, I was a child then, but
you are.
Go ahead. Did you ever see Felix the Cat? That was the cartoon.
There you go. So I don't know if you guys remember 1964, this Senator Barry Goldwater.
Very much so.
Yeah. You know,
what
Arizona.
Something is not a vice. Freedom is, whatever.
Yeah, and he was running against Johnson right after Kennedy was killed, President Johnson. And when I met with him back in the 90s at his home there in Scottsdale, you know, he said it was a goddamn mistake then and a goddamn mistake now that this was.
You met with Barry Goldwater. Now, there's no way to confirm this, but back in the 90s, when he was being bribed by old Futterbutter, or what his name was, the general of the Army intelligence or whatever, $2 billion to not even start to do this shit. This is the 90s. Dr. Stephen Greer. Oh boy, Dr. Stephen Greer. Let's see. Did he even get his own dates right? I don't know. Let's see. 69 years old, June 28th. Wikipedia can't be sold. Okay. His middle name is Macon. Let's see. When did he say he started this shit? 1994. Appeared in Larry King. Greer founded the Center for Studies of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, CSETI, in 1990 to create a diplomatic and research-based initiative to contact extraterrestrial civilizations. The group defined CE5, or close encounters of the fifth kind, as human-initiated contact and communication with extraterrestrial life. Damn, he's been doing that for a long time. CSETI claims to have over 3,000 confirmed reports of UFO sightings by pilots and over 4,000 of what they describe as landing traces. The organization uses rapid, mobilized investigation teams with the aim of arriving at landing sites as quickly as possible. CSETI has defined a protocol for human-initiated contact to UFOs using consciousness. Consciousness. In 1993, Greer founded the Disclosure Project. Okay, so that's all that he's talking about right there. So he worked in medicine. Greer received his Virginia medical license in 1989 and worked as an emergency room physician in 1988. He decided to retire as a physician in favor of UFO activities. He graduated from the University of East Tennessee State University College of Medicine in 1987. So 1987, he graduated, but he went to Appalachian State. Wow, how about that? Okay. In 1982, this dude was born in 1955. Okay. Okay. And then he graduated from East Tennessee State of Medicine in 87. Okay. He got his Virginia license in 1989, and he worked in 1998. He decided to retire in favor of a UFO. Okay, 1998. But in 1990, he founded a Center for Study of the Extraterrestrial Intelligence. So he was a doctor for 8 years while he was also parallel UFOing. Okay, there you go. That's the connection we needed. The timeline on Dr. Stephen M. Greer. Back to the interview.
They were kept secret. He was cursing up a blue streak. He's a character. And he told me a very interesting story. And these stories are important because you can extrapolate it across the system.
Barry Goldwater. Now that's what I was talking about. Barry Goldwater. Was he back in the 70s? Huh? Wouldn't Barry Goldwater run for president? I was like, Barry Goldwater. Did he run against Nixon? Barry Goldwater. Presidential run. There we go. 1964. Wow. Hold on. When did he say he was hanging out with Barry? When did he die? He died in 98. Okay. He died in 98. Let's just go back. Let's just get this straight here. All right.
And in a goddamn mistake now that is right after Kennedy was killed.
Something is not a, that was a cartoon.
There you go. So I don't know if you guys remember 1964, this Senator Barry Goldwater.
Very much so.
Yeah. You know, Arizona.
Something is not a vice. Freedom is, whatever.
Yeah,
that was his
and he was running against Johnson right after Kennedy was killed, President Johnson. And when I met with him back in the 90s at his home there in Scottsdale, you know, he said it was a goddamn mistake then and a goddamn mistake now that this was ever kept secret. He was cursing up a blue streak. He's a character. And he told me a very interesting story. And these stories are important because you can extrapolate it across the system. So imagine you're in the running, a 50-50 chance or so to be the president of the United States. You're on all these key Senate committees. You're the senior senator from Arizona.
Okay.
He had a very good friend named General Curtis LeMay, who at one time had been head of the Air Force. And they called him Bomb Back to the Stone Age LeMay because he wanted to drop nuclear weapons into China and Vietnam. He
was a bomb guy. Yeah, for
sure. But he also knew about this issue, limited. So at one point, Senator Goldwater asked General LeMay, I want to get into the, quote, blue room at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which back then there was a lot of extraterrestrial material that was sent there. And all the way back to the 40s, by the way, Wright-Patterson, very key.
Okay.
And he said, General LeMay turned to him and said, God damn it, Barry, I can't even get into that area anymore. And if you ever ask me about this again, I will personally see that you are court-martialed out of the Air Force Reserve. Because Barry was a general in the Air Force Reserve. So I'm sitting in Barry Goldwater's house. And he's dropping this shit on. And I go, wow. Was he serious? I said, was Curtis LeMay serious? He said, oh, yeah, he was serious as a heart attack.
Mm.
And so subsequently, he did reach out to a member of this cabal. He asked me who's involved. I started naming names. I came across one was a senior.
Did he say he was a general in the Air Force Reserves? Is that they have generals in the reserves?
Who were court-martialed out of the Air Force Reserve because Barry was a general in the Air Force Reserve. So I'm sitting in Barry Goldwater's house and he's dropping this shit on. And I go,
wow,
was he serious? I said, was Curtis LeMay serious? He says, oh yeah, he was serious as a heart attack. And so subsequently, he did reach out to a member of this cabal. He asked me who's involved. I started naming names. I came across one was a senior admiral who had become deputy director CIA and head of the National Security Agency, and Admiral Bobby Ray Inman. And he just gave you a name. He's still living. And yeah. Don't worry, CIA's listening too.
Great.
And you know what he said. So this was back then. So he after I had this meeting, so I said, well, why don't you reach out to him? He said, oh, I've known Bobby Ray for years. So I said, oh, great, because Bobby Ray Inman moved from director of National Security Agency over to the board of Science Applications International Corporation, SAIC. That's done a lot of this covert contracting related to UFOs. So he reached out to him. He later got back to me, and his daughter got back to me and said, Dr. Greer, he can't make any more phone calls like that for you. He can't. It's too dangerous. And I don't know what Admiral Inman said to Senator Goldwater, but it put the fear of God in him, and he never brought it up again. But I have a lovely letter from Senator Goldwater about it. It's in our.
I know about Admiral Bobby Ray Inman. He was born in 1931, and Naval Intelligence first 4-star flagged officer. The admiral is considered the intelligence community's gold standard of integrity, intellect, and integration, and someone who kept politics and policy separate from analysis and assessment. His inspirational style, teamwork. Let's see. Held 2 posts, director of national NSA and deputy director of the CIA simultaneously for a period of 7 weeks, pushing the two agencies to work more closely together. And the nation's national security is better for it. Let's see. Deputy director of CIA, February 1981 to June 1982. Director of National Security Agency until 81. Director of Defense Intelligence Agency 67 to 77. Naval Intelligence 74 to 76, and so on. Following his retirement from the Navy, he's been chief executive officer, board member of many successful companies, and a university professor. Tone friendly and mentor generations of intelligence professionals. His guidance list, Inman's rules, are well known with the IC. Those in Washington, D.C. would be wise to follow all 30 of them. Intelligence is knowing what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Intelligence users are looking for what is going to happen, not what has already occurred. You can never know too much about the enemy. By the time intelligence gets back to a user with the answer, the question usually has changed. Always allow time to consider what the enemy wants me to think. Is he succeeding or am I? Always know your blind spots. Keep them covered. The first report is usually wrong. Act, but understand more is to come, and it will be different. Well, I believe in that all the time. See, tell what you know, tell what you don't know, tell what it means. Oh, nice. Something is too good to believe probably is just that, untrue. If you think your enemy is stupid, think again. Tenacity, still going strong at age 91. So he's still going on at age 91, and he is being called out by Stephen Greer as being part. This man is being part of this nasty group. Am I hearing this right? Let's go back.
International Corporation, SAIC, that's done a lot of this covert contracting related to UFOs. So he reached out to him. He later got back to me, and his daughter got back to me and said, Dr. Greer, he can't make any more phone calls like that for you. He can't. It's too dangerous. And I don't know what Admiral Inman said to Senator Goldwater, but it put the fear of God in him, and he never brought it up again. But I have a lovely letter from Senator Goldwater about it. It's in our archive if you want to look at it. But, he was just like he was an interesting character. He was more like what you would call a libertarian today, I guess, because he certainly was not a far right religious person by any stretch.
He was the guy who told Nixon, you got to go. He was the guy who walked down the White House. Said,
you lose
Barry Goldwater, time to go.
You're done. We're done.
He was definitely a tough character.
I'm from Arizona. I know all about. I grew up with Barry Goldwater.
Well, you probably know where his house was in Paradise Valley.
I can't disclose that, but yeah.
Yeah.
We can't. We have.
But it-
I need something
but,
to
you know,
not
just take
disclose.
that story. Imagine being at that rank.
Almost
You know,
out.
you're a reserve Air Force general. You're Senator Goldwater,
Woo.
and you are absolutely blocked from knowing this. So, and
Oh
that
my
is in the
God.
freaking 60s, right? So
Right.
this whole
Ugh.
train has been out of control, off the tracks for since I was born in 1955.
Wrap it up.
You know, not
Right.
quite, but
Wrap it up.
Well,
Wow,
it's a lot. It's a lot to think
It's
about.
a lot. We're gonna. If
We're
you
not
feel
done with you.
feel
We
free
are
to
for
watch
now,
this
but not-
podcast twice because there's a lot
Okay.
There's a
of
lot to
information
think
in
about.
it.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, you should
Yeah, I
watch it.
apologize.
You should watch my
No, not at all. I
analysis
mean,
of
it's
it.
all very, very interesting. Just take care of yourself, and thanks for coming on to our show.
appreciate it.
Really, really.
All right, love you guys.
We will talk to you
Appreciate it.
again soon.
Oh, he loves you.
Thank you.
See ya. Oh, good Lord. Don't these guys copyright me for this. I'm gonna be mad because I analyzed the hell out of that interview. I did it in 2 parts. Holy cow. Well, I'm convinced. What about you guys? You guys ready for the deep dark rogue military cabal to be undone by the heroes that are out there working the Navy SEAL Green Beret hero team that needs an executive order but has immunity already? But I can run this whole narrative back, I think, in my head if I try here. But man, that is exhausting and it's tough. I did both parts 3 and 4 today. I had to break them into 2 parts. So I basically did a almost a 5-hour stream on Stephen Greer with Dana Carvey and David Spade. Whoa, my head is spinning, guys. But that was a lot of fun. And I gotta say, he makes it easy. He makes it really easy for me to go on a much needed, very therapeutic degrifting safari. It really does. And I feel bad for anybody who falls for his crap, though. I know a lot of people have. He's made a lot of money. And all I can say is just be glad that I'm not like Stephen Greer, because I could take that to a whole nother level, but I wouldn't do it. I don't understand why people put up with or tolerate or why they don't see it. However, I've broken down each and every sentence that he said, showed you all the techniques that he uses to proliferate his grift, how it's changed over the years. We've looked into different things he pulled up. We did it all in 2 parts. I don't even know what else to say at this point. I mean, I'm wiped. Other than he's full of shit, and you should never ever listen to Stephen Greer. I will also say that you can pretty much count on nothing he said ever coming true. All right, right? It makes a lot of sense that if there was such a thing as he's describing, that it'd already be over. It would have been over a long time ago. You get 1,000 years ahead of any military on any planet. You can be shooting down extraterrestrials. You're on the same level as extraterrestrials that aren't there, but you're on the same level as some outside force that could actually is way ahead of your entire planet. You're pretty much at God level status power. I don't know what you're waiting for. I don't know why you're not waiting to just take over the world and implement it in your beautiful utopian vision of it. That would make you a pretty good person if you didn't, and you could. But if pretty bad people have this technology and they don't, what does that say? And somehow our team of heroes here, led by Dr. Stephen Greer, just a simple doctor turned UFOologist, is going to save the day at the very last minute, swinging in on a chandelier and jumping off the edge from a giant explosion as the enemy is destroyed. It'll be a Hollywood ending for sure, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video, the stream, whatever you want to call this thing tonight. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Hope you enjoyed this interview analysis that I've done with the great Dr. Stephen Greer, featuring him. And I hope that you will come back for what inevitably will be part 5 when I return. And you guys are being safe out there. Thanks again to everybody for being here. Thank you for watching this series. Thank you for liking it. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for helping by subscribing and ringing the bell and coming to my live streams. The schedule is in the description, as are the playlists I mentioned. Make sure you check those out. I'm also over on Rumble. So check that out as well. I think I have to eventually release these on Rumble too. So I'll figure out a way to do that. But anyways, probably when I get back, I'll just be 1, 2, boom, boom, put them out. And I'm going to get on out of here. And I appreciate you guys being here for part 1 and part. If you just came for part 1 and part 2 of this interview, thank you for that too. But I encourage you to go back and listen to parts 1 and 2 of Dronepocalypse 2024 in the playlist. It'll be awesome, guys. I will be back sometime this weekend streaming again, and this is the week of Christmas that I'm doing this stream. So if you're listening to this at a later date, that's what I'm talking about. Either way, I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to take that teleporter beam on out of here. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks so much for being here. And until next time, stay based and keep on winning.
This is a friendship that'll